Once, long ago, a race of robot beings called Autobots were forced to wage war against another race of robots called Decepticons to bring peace back to their home planet of Cybertron. As the war went on, chance brought both sides to Earth. They crashed so violently on landing that all the robots lay in the Earth's crust, seemingly without life, for over 4 million years. Suddenly, the energy set in motion by a powerful volcanic eruption gives them life once more, and the war starts all over again here on Earth. Among the robots' many strange powers is the ability to transform into other shapes, and they use this to disguise themselves to fit in with the civilization they find on Earth. The Autobots have to defend themselves. They have to protect this planet with all its valuable resources and the people who live here. And they must also build a new spaceship if they are ever to get back to Cybertron. The Transformers. Autobots fight back. Optimus Prime was briefing Bumblebee for a spying mission.
Find out all you can,
he said.
It is most important that we know what the Decepticons' plans are. The safety of the Earth people as well as our own depends on that knowledge.
A few hours later, the small Autobot was in sight of the Decepticons' remote mountain stronghold. He scanned the surroundings with his supervision. There were Decepticon lookouts on several vantage points, but Bumblebee's special skills lay in his ability to move stealthily and secretly. Keeping under cover, he reached the inner part of the rocky complex. He followed a narrow tunnel and found himself looking down into a cavern where Megatron and the more important Decepticons were having a discussion.
Work on rebuilding the space cruiser is going well,
Megatron was saying.
But it will all be in vain if we cannot complete the power system.
But it is complete,
said Starscream.
It only needs assembling.
It also needs to be tested,
said Megatron.
Report, Soundwave.
Ion drive power system requires test and running in. Restricted space in Decepticon base unsuitable. Recommend exploration.
We are wasting time!
Shouted Starscream.
Testing! Running in! Is our technology so bad that we cannot trust our own work? If I had my way, the ion drive would be in place and we would be already well on our way home to Cybertron!
You do not have your way!
Cried Megatron.
And until then, which is unlikely, you will carry out orders.
Soundwave produced a roll of plans. Bumblebee craned forward from his hiding place to see and could just make out the details. It was a design for a giant space drive test rig, which was to be an enormous tube, 5 meters across and 1,600 meters long. The inside of the tube would be lined with electronic and electromagnetic equipment. No wonder the Decepticons were stuck. They had no place to conceal a thing as big as that. Starscream spoke again.
Why can't the tube be formed by boring into the side of a mountain?
We do not have the power for such a huge task,
said Megatron.
We have a great store of energon cubes,
cried Starscream.
Starscream!
Shrieked Megatron.
You try my patience with your stupidity? If we use the energon cubes to dig a tunnel, what would we use for fuel to drive the space cruiser?
Before Starscream could think of an answer, Soundwave broke in.
Alarm! Alarm! Intruder detected. Sensors indicate Autobot.
Bumblebee fled, with the Decepticons in hot pursuit. He raced back along the narrow tunnel and scrambled down the rocks as fast as he could go. On level ground, he transformed to his Volkswagen shape and raced off at top speed in a cloud of dust. Shots hit the ground around his wheels as the Decepticons tried to stop him.
Hold your fire!
Cried Megatron.
We are wasting precious energy! Activate Ravage!
With a snarl, the ferocious metal animal leapt off on the trail of the small car. Ahead, the country was hilly and wooded. Bumblebee thought that if he could reach the cover of the woods and hills, he would have a chance of shaking off his pursuer. Ravage was gaining fast as Bumblebee reached the hills and hit a narrow dirt road which wound through the trees. It took all of the small Autobot's skill to stay on the road as his wheels slipped and skidded on the loose surface. But try as he might, he could not shake off Ravage. Ahead, the dirt road was crossed by a rough track running along the bottom of a deep, narrow gully. At the exact moment that Ravage loosed one of his missiles, Bumblebee slid in a four-wheel drift off the road and onto the track. The track was covered with weeds and a layer of dead leaves, and Bumblebee's wheels left easily followed ruts. Ravage prepared to fire his remaining missile, but Bumblebee was out of sight round a bend in the track. Following the ruts, Ravage bounded round the corner. Next moment, the canine robot crashed into the side of the gully and tumbled head over heels, blinded by the glare of Bumblebee's headlights in the shade of the high banks. Bumblebee had suddenly remembered that Ravage's weak point was his sensitivity to bright light. By the time that Ravage had recovered, Bumblebee had made good his escape and was nowhere to be seen. Ravage prowled along the track, hoping to pick up the Autobot's trail, but Bumblebee had managed to climb the steep slope, leaving no trace on the hard ground. Growling to himself with rage, Ravage turned a last bend and saw that the gully came to an abrupt end against a sheer hillside, thickly clad in trees and undergrowth. There seemed no way through. Ravage pushed through the bushes and between the trunks of young trees. Soon he was close to the hillside, and he made a surprising discovery. There was a wide opening in the hill. Hidden from outside by the trees, a high, arched entrance to what must be a cave rose above Ravage's head. Activating his audio-visual sensors, the Decepticon passed through the arch. It might just be the hiding place of the fleeing Autobot spy. As Ravage made his way carefully into the darkness of the cave, his sensors recorded much information. A short distance inside, the vegetation gave way to a rough stone floor, which appeared to be level. 2 strips of metal ran down the center, and there was no exit to be seen. Deciding that he had learned enough, Ravage returned to the open air and made all speed to report back to Megatron. Megatron raged about Bumblebee's escape, and Ravage cowered before his leader. Then he transformed to his cassette shape, and the Decepticons gathered round the playback monitor. As the data collected by Ravage's sensors came up on the video screen, Megatron roared in triumph.
Those miserable Autobots and their clumsy spy have done us a great favor. This cave may be the means of our testing the ion drive. With luck, it will convert easily as a space drive test rig. I will make a personal inspection.
Led by Ravage, Megatron and Soundwave located the cave. As they explored the interior, Soundwave checked out the dimensions.
Data suggests primitive Earthling artifact. Purpose unknown. Partial destruction by rockfall. Remaining section measures 1,600 meters. Diameter 5 meters.
Exactly what we need,
cried Megatron.
Metal strips suggest crude energy conductor system.
Forget those!
Said Megatron.
Contact base! I want work to start immediately on transporting the equipment. Nothing must stand in the way of assembling the space drive test rig and testing the ion drive.
Meanwhile, Bumblebee was reporting to Optimus Prime.
So, it seems the Decepticons are having problems with their ion drive,
He said.
More trouble than they're worth.
Said Trailbreaker.
Give me good old-fashioned neutron drive every time. This should keep Megatron and company grounded for a long time to come.
There's no guarantee of that,
said Optimus Prime.
The Decepticons are not only ruthless, they are also highly ingenious. They'll find a way out of their difficulties one way or another. Unless, that is, we can do something to stop them. Bumblebee, I want you to return to the Decepticon base and see what else you can find out. And be more careful this time.
Bumblebee was back with his report by nightfall. The Decepticon base was all but deserted. Megatron and all the more important Decepticons had gone, taking most of the technical equipment with them.
This is worse than I thought,
said Optimus Prime. Quickly, the Autobot leader issued his orders.
Trailbreaker, take up position on that hill to the south. Keep a listening watch for Decepticon radio signals. They must still keep in touch with their base, and you, Hound, do the same on the ridge due north of here.
Trailbreaker and Hound transformed into their shapes as motor van and jeep and set off in opposite directions. Once in position, they extended their monitoring aerials and tuned to Decepticon frequency. The air was alive with Decepticon radio messages. In a very short time, both Autobots had recorded all the information they needed and were hurrying back to base to report to Optimus Prime.